In the highest reaches of the Himalayas, 16,000 feet above the world, there is a tiny lake. For most of the year, it is a sheet of ice, but when it thaws, it reveals its secret. Hundreds upon hundreds of human skeletons. They didn't die from war or sickness or a fall. Forensic science is clear on this. Every single one of them was killed by massive, crushing blows to the top of their skulls, delivered from directly above. In this video, I am going to show you the evidence unearthed from that frozen grave. We will follow the exact trail of the scientists who analyzed the bones and made a discovery that shattered every theory they had. And you will understand why the truth of what happened at Roopkund Lake is not a simple story of a pilgrimage gone wrong, but a deeply unsettling mystery of impossible coincidences and ancient human behavior that science is still struggling to explain. Music swells, then fades to a more atmospheric, investigative tone. The place is called Roopkund. It's in the Uttarakhand state of India, nestled in the Trisul Massif. To get there is an ordeal. It's an 8-day trek through dense forests, across rushing rivers, and up into the thin, unforgiving air of the high-altitude wilderness. There is no permanent human settlement for miles. There is nothing but rock, ice, and silence. In 1942, a forest ranger named Hari Kishan Madwal was navigating this hostile landscape when he stumbled upon the lake. The summer sun had melted the ice along the edges, and what he saw made him stop dead in his tracks. The shallow, crystal-clear water was littered with human bones, skulls, femurs, ribs, everywhere. And as the ice continued to melt, more and more were revealed. Not one or two, hundreds. The initial report sent shockwaves through the British authorities ruling India at the time. The world was at war. The first panic theory was that this was a platoon of Japanese soldiers trying to sneak through the mountains on an invasion route. A team was dispatched to investigate, but the brutal terrain and high altitude made a thorough examination nearly impossible. They quickly determined the bones were far too old to be Japanese soldiers. They were ancient. So, what were they? Local legends and folklore offered an immediate answer. The stories told of a king, his pregnant wife, and their entire entourage making a pilgrimage to the nearby shrine of the mountain goddess, Nanda Devi. The group, arrogant and loud, desecrated the holy site with music and dance. The goddess, enraged by their impurity, unleashed a terrible storm. A storm of iron-hard hailstones that rained down from the sky and struck every single person dead. For decades, this was the accepted story. It was tragic, mythic, and it seemed to fit. A single large group of pilgrims, perhaps from the 9th or 10th century, caught in a freak storm. It explained the location, near a pilgrimage route. It explained the sheer number of bodies, and it even, poetically, explained the cause of death. The case seemed, if not closed, at least understandable. A terrible accident, frozen in time. And that is what the world believed for over 60 years, until modern science decided to take a closer look. And what it found makes the legend of an angry goddess seem simple by comparison. The truth was something no one could have ever predicted. The facts are there, the explanation is not. And what it found makes the legend of an angry goddess seem simple by comparison. In the 2000s, teams of scientists, geneticists, archaeologists, anthropologists made the grueling trek to Roopkund. They were armed with technology the original investigators couldn't have dreamed of: DNA sequencing, isotope analysis, advanced carbon dating. They collected samples from dozens of the skeletons, taking them back to state-of-the-art labs across the world. They were expecting to confirm the old story. You know, find a homogeneous group of South Asian people from a single time period, and finally put the mystery to rest. What they found blew the case wide open. The results of the major 2019 study, published in the journal Nature Communications, were an absolute bombshell. The 800 skeletons in that lake did not die together. They weren't even from the same century. They weren't even from the same continent. Stop. Think about what that actually means. The DNA analysis revealed two completely distinct genetic groups among the dead. The first group, let's call them Group A, were exactly who everyone expected. Their DNA was consistent with people from South Asia, likely native to the region. The carbon dating placed their deaths sometime around the year 800 AD, in the 9th century. This fits perfectly with the ancient pilgrimage theory. So far, so good. But then there was Group B. Their DNA showed no link to South Asia. None. Their genetic profile matched, with startling clarity, people from the Eastern Mediterranean, specifically modern-day Greece and Crete. And their carbon dating was even more shocking. They didn't die in the 9th century with the others. They died around the year 1800 AD, the 19th century, 1,000 years later. How do you explain that? Two groups of people, one from ancient India, the other from 19th century Greece, both traveled thousands of miles to the exact same remote, inaccessible spot, a tiny lake 16,000 feet up in the Himalayas, and both groups, separated by a full millennium, met the exact same bizarre end: death by massive, cricket ball-sized hailstones raining from the sky. The forensic evidence on the bones is undeniable. Dr. Pramod Jogalekar, a bioarchaeologist at Deccan College, studied the trauma. The fractures are short, deep, and found on the top of the skulls and on the shoulders. These aren't injuries from a battle with swords or spears. They aren't from a fall down a mountain. They are entirely consistent with being struck repeatedly from above by large, rounded objects while out in the open. A catastrophic hailstorm. The scientists who examined this case were forced to discard every simple explanation. Ayadon Harney, the lead author of the study from Harvard University, said it herself. They were extremely surprised by the genetics. The data didn't just add a new chapter to the story of Roopkund, it ripped the whole book apart. To this day, the official scientific record contains no explanation for who the Mediterranean individuals were, or what they were possibly doing in such a remote part of the Himalayas in the 1800s. It remains a total confounding mystery. Music becomes more thoughtful, inquisitive. So, what are we left with? We have impossible facts that demand an explanation. Researchers have put forward several theories, each trying to make sense of a puzzle that seems to defy logic. The first and most widely accepted theory for Group A, the South Asian individuals from the 9th century, is the pilgrimage theory we've discussed. The Nanda Devi Raj Jat is a real pilgrimage, a sacred procession that happens only once every 12 years. It passes near Roopkund. It's entirely plausible that a large group was caught in the valley by one of the sudden, violent storms common to the Himalayas. Trapped with no shelter, they huddled together and were killed by a freak hailstorm of unimaginable intensity. This theory is supported by the local folklore, the DNA evidence of this group, and the nature of their injuries. It's a neat, tragic story that accounts for about half the skeletons, but it does absolutely nothing to explain Group B. The second theory grapples with these Mediterranean strangers from the 19th century. Who were they? Why were they there? Some speculate they were merchants on a lost trade route, though no such route is known to have existed in that area. Others suggest they were explorers, or maybe even mercenaries, but there is zero historical documentation of a European expedition of that size going missing in that region during that time. Nothing. Isotope analysis of their bones revealed they had a varied, terrestrial diet, not what you'd expect from locals. They were foreigners, through and through. The most unsettling part of this theory is the lack of any answer. They are a ghost group. They appear in the remote Himalayas, die in a statistically impossible repeat event, and leave behind no story, no record, no reason, just their bones. This leads to the third, most disturbing theory, one that steps away from coincidence and into the realm of a pattern. This theory suggests that Roopkund itself is the key, that the lake is not just a place where tragedy happened, but a place that, for some reason, attracts it. Is it a ritual site that different cultures, separated by 1,000 years, were drawn to for a purpose we can no longer comprehend? Could the pilgrimage and the unknown expedition have been two different expressions of the same human impulse, drawing them to a sacred or cursed location? This theory suggests we aren't looking at two separate, random accidents. We are looking at a single, terrifying phenomenon that repeated itself. It's a theory that feels more like myth than science, but the coincidence it tries to explain is so profound that many feel a conventional explanation just isn't enough. The scientists who examined this case never gave a public explanation for the convergence. They just presented the data, because the data alone is a story that defies belief. Music shifts to an emotional, reflective tone. Look, this isn't just about solving an ancient puzzle. It's about what this place tells us about ourselves. Strip away the dates, the DNA, the geography. What you are left with is a story about the human brain under the ultimate duress. Imagine you are there. The sky turns a sickening color, the air goes still, and then the first stone hits. It's the size of a fist. It shatters the rock next to you. Then another and another. There is nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The sky itself, the one thing you cannot escape, has become your executioner. What do? Your ancient, hardwired survival instincts kick in. The cognitive science is clear. In the face of an overwhelming, inescapable threat, humans engage in collective behavior. You don't scatter, you huddle. You seek the primitive comfort and perceived safety of the group. The skeletons at Roopkund were not found spread out across the valley. They were found clustered together, right by the edge of the lake. In their final moments, people from different families, maybe even strangers, came together in a shared, primal response to terror. The man from 9th century India and the woman from 19th century Greece, separated by 1,000 years of history, culture, and language, faced the exact same sky, and their brains, your brain, my brain, all responded in the exact same way. That's the behavior unveiled. Roopkund isn't just a grave, it's a laboratory, preserving a universal truth about the human stress response, proving that beneath everything we build, everything we believe, we are all running on the same ancient software. This mystery does not just change what you know, it changes what you believe is possible. The world is not the neat, orderly place we are taught it is. It is a place of profound, overlapping mysteries, where the laws of probability can be stretched to their breaking point, and where the stories of our ancestors are far stranger and far more connected to us than we could ever imagine. Music becomes confident, bold. Subscribe, not because I'm asking you to. Subscribe because understanding the hidden mechanics of the human mind, the deep patterns that drove those people to that lake, is to understand the forces that drive you. What you just discovered is only the beginning. The patterns are everywhere, hidden in plain sight, and once you see them, you can never unsee them. Next, we journey to another frozen landscape to investigate the Dyatlov Pass incident. We will expose the one chilling detail that the original Soviet forensic reports documented, but that was kept from the public for decades. A detail that proves whatever happened to those 9 experienced hikers was no ordinary accident. And it was not human.